Hello again, and welcome to part 2 of What's New in Digital. Last time we talked about Hoopla's magazine Binge Pass. So this time we're going to talk about newspapers instead, and we're going to talk about the two main options we have here at BPL for accessing newspapers online, which are the New York Times and PressReader. And I'm going to briefly demonstrate those two options as well for you. And I'm going to get started right away here. I'm going to turn off my camera in the meantime to share my screen here. What's new in digital e-newspapers is our topic for today. So to access our digital newspapers from our website, you go to our home page, click on the downloads in digital icon there, and then click the magazines and newspapers tab. And there you'll see two icons for the New York Times and for PressReader. And that's how you can access both of those. So a few details about the New York Times. It's a multi-platform news tool. There's access to New York Times and international New York Times content, including everything you see there: breaking news, multimedia content, reviews, opinion, blogs, videos, and more. A few other things I've learned they have are news quizzes, short documentaries, and the languages they offer are Chinese and Spanish. And you can access it on a computer or via the app as well. So there's two ways to access the New York Times. There's being in the library itself, and using our Wi-Fi to access it. So if you choose to go that way, you can use any device connected to our Wi-Fi to log in. You create an account with your personal email address, or you log in if you already have a New York Times account, and then you have unlimited access to New York Times articles. If you're outside of the library, you're going to need to have your library card number and your PIN number handy. So you log in with that, you click redeem, and then you create an account with your personal email address, or log in if you already have an account similar to the first option. You have 72 hours if you're out of the library of unlimited access to New York Times articles. After those 72 hours, you don't lose access. You just have to sign in again, and then you'll have it for 72 hours straight again. You can also use a Google, Facebook, or Apple account to log into the New York Times website. So that's an option as well. So you can see on the screen there, that's how it looks when you're logging in or creating an account. So that's kind of an example of how it would look on the right there when you're logging in. And then I'll do a demonstration. Okay, there's the New York Times. First thing you can see here is that up in the left corner here, there is the date, today's date. And if you click on today's paper, then there's an option here to change it to any date you want in the calendar here. So if let's say you wanted November 10th instead, excuse me, then you can look at that paper as well. We have access to quite a few years of the New York Times. I believe it's 100 years or so, but you can definitely try and see how far back you can get content. I think it's a fair amount of their history. To access the menu of different sections available, you can see here that there's sections across the top here. There's also, if you scroll back up to the top, there's a little menu here, and you can get to the sections that way as well. You can open, excuse me, you can open a search field here by clicking on the magnifying glass. So let's do an example search for interior decorating. So once we get the results here, we can refine them by clicking on this drop-down menu for date range. So let's say we just want the past month of articles. Then we have section. We can refine by the style section, for instance. And so that brings up only one article there. Probably within that. Oh, here we go. I clicked on that one by accident. Okay, so these are our options here. Then we can refine by the type of article. So yeah, so we only have articles here available. And we can sort these results as well. So we can sort by relevance, by newest, or by oldest. And with the New York Times, like I mentioned earlier, we have the different language options. So if we go back to the home page here, we can see, at the top right above the heading, it says US International. So that's where you would find the International New York Times edition, which would be a different edition of the paper. Then there's specific Canadian content. Then there is Espanol, so Spanish, and there's Chinese as well. So that's where you would find Chinese content available. So if you click, there it is. Okay, well, let's go back here. Okay, so we can also share this content. Similar to other websites like this, you can share content with other people. So if we click on an article, you can see here this arrow, which is the share menu here. So we can see that we have options to copy a link, to email, to Facebook, Twitter, Telegram, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Reddit, and it says here, give this article. So with the New York Times, they have this great feature, which is that you can share up to, you can gift, up to 10 articles per month. So with our subscription to the New York Times, all of our library users can give up to 10 articles to anyone they want within a 30-day rolling period. So when a gift article is shared with a recipient, that recipient can read it with or without a subscription. Recipients have 2 weeks to read the article before access is revoked. Okay, so, and these gift articles will not count towards the limited number of articles available to unregistered users. So you might have noticed that when you're looking at the New York Times website and you're not signed into an account or a subscription, you often have a limited number of articles you can read. So when somebody gives you an article, that's not going to count against those limited number of articles that you have access to. That's in addition to that. Excuse me. So you can also flag an article to return and read it later. So that is called saving an article. So when there's a flag, you can see right here, when that's filled in dark gray, the article has been saved, and then you'd be able to find it under account, which you can see up here in the top right. If you go in there, you'll be able to find all of your saved articles. Yes, and then it will be available on any device you use with the same login. Okay, so let's go back to our slides. So we'll stop sharing that for now. We'll go back to our slides. Okay, so PressReader. PressReader is another great option that we have. It's a platform that has many newspapers, as you can see there. It says over 4,000 full content newspapers from 100 countries in 60 languages in just one app. So often available before they hit the newsstands in their respective countries and archived for up to 2 weeks. So there is kind of a limited time range there. You can download 5 free newspapers daily over the library's Wi-Fi and then read them offline anywhere you like. And keep in mind, the Globe and Mail is only accessible using the app in the library. Remember, this service is completely free, so don't enter your credit card details unless you want to. Similar to the New York Times, PressReader can be used from any library location without using your library card number and PIN. If you're using it from home, though, you will need to use that library card number and PIN. Aside from that, it also gives you the option to create an account or to connect to an existing account like Facebook, Twitter, or Google. In contrast to the New York Times, however, you don't have to have an account to use PressReader. If you do, though, you will get customized browsing and sharing features within the platform, and we'll come back to that in the demonstration. So this is where you can go to download the app. So once you get into PressReader from our homepage, from the library's homepage, if you click on More, and then in that drop-down menu, Help Center, that's where you can get to this page, which has links to download the app. However, you can just search in the App Store on Apple devices, or you can search in the Google Play Store as well to find it. So that's what it looks like when you're either signing in or signing up for PressReader. So to demonstrate, to demonstrate, I'm going to stop sharing that one. So this one's PressReader. So this is how it looks when you bring it up. If we scroll down here, if it'll let me, there we go. If we scroll down, we can see under publications, we have newspapers. There are several other categories of content they have, I believe. Magazines and newspapers being kind of some of the most popular. Yes, I believe it's mostly magazines and newspapers. So if we go into newspapers, we can narrow the results by country. So let's pick Canada for now. And then you can see here that it brings up the option to filter by province and territory as well. So you could pick any province and territory to narrow the results to as well. And then here are the languages that are available for Canadian content. And then, of course, this will change according to which country you pick, which languages are available, right? So if we picked Angola and then deselect Canada and then see what options are available. So yeah, we've got Portuguese and that's it for that country. So that's how that is. So let's go back and pick Canada again. And then you have 143 countries to choose from, by the way. And you can also search by title of publication. So actually, we're just going to search here for the Toronto Star. And okay, we're getting a lot of options here. If we go back to Toronto, there we go. So if we search Toronto Star, then we can select here what we want, and then we won't get all those other search results. So we open this up and we click Read Now. And then to look at some of the options that we have available, we can change the date up to 2 weeks ago. So we can go in here and change the calendar date. We can use the arrows on the left and right to navigate. We can use a menu along the bottom of the page to pick a certain section. Okay. Okay, so if you can see that, we can pick, for instance, culture. And then there's kind of two main views that we can choose from. So let's go back here, go back into read now. Okay, go back. There, okay. So if we can click back in this part, we can see our two options here, which are page view and text view. And there's different menu options within both of those views, which I'm going to show you. We saw this with Hoopla as well. They had the page view and the text view idea. Yes, so let's click on page view. Oh, so we're already in page view, right? So that is like the traditional view of a newspaper when you're looking at it, how it would look in real life. So if we click on these three dots, as we can see, these are our options under there. So we can go into we can add to my publications, right? We can download to device, we can listen, we can translate, and yeah, so those are the page view options. We can also if we click, by the way, if we click into one of these sections, it will enlarge it, or if we click on an article, it'll make it larger as well. And there's hyperlinked content. You can see here there's a link to this article. If we click that, it will take us right to the article. And it's bringing it up in text view now. So this is the other option we have. So under text view, we have similar options. One of them is listen. So I wanted to demonstrate that. You should be
Michael's choice. He survived a lifetime of trauma. Then Michael Fraser found himself housebound by pain, poverty, and incurable disease.
So that, hopefully you could hear that. And if you click done, you can get back to where you were. So that's the listen feature, which is great if you want to be hands-free, you're doing something else while you're listening. You can also share articles similar to the New York Times. But you have to sign into an account to be able to share an article or bookmark an article for later to read it. Read it offline, or yeah, you have to be signed into your own personal account for that. Signing in also allows you to use the tags within the newspaper to find articles on the same topic. For example, Doctor Who or geek culture. Okay. So let's go back to our slides here. I'll stop sharing that one and start sharing the slides. Okay, so done the demonstration. So this is a little summary here. So with the New York Times, you have access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with Wi-Fi at the library or at home, and you can either use a computer or an app to access it. The content is news, international, US or Canada, foreign languages, that are offered are Chinese and Spanish only. PressReader, same thing. You can use it anytime, but there are newspapers from 143 countries in 60 foreign languages. Okay, I'm just remembering I did want to demonstrate how to translate an article in case you want to be able to translate into a different language. So if we go back to this web page here and we go into those three dots again, we can see that you can click translate and then you can translate into Croatian, for instance. And that's how that works. And that's a great option to expand your options available to you, not just articles that were published in the language that you can read and understand, but articles that you can have translated into that language. That opens up your possibilities a lot more. So I did want to make sure I showed you that. Apologies for jumping around a bit there, but let's go back and finish up again. So that was the summary. Okay, so if you have any questions, of course, as always, you can contact us at that number there or at our live chat service, which is accessible from our homepage there, bonpl.info. And I wanted to thank you for watching this video, and hopefully you enjoy using New York Times and PressReader and enjoy reading many articles. I'm just going to turn my video back on to say a quick goodbye, and thanks for joining, and see you soon for the next installment.